This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Got a car to sell but no time to waste? Hop on to Carvana.com to get a real offer for your car in seconds. All you have to do is enter your license plate, answer a few quick questions, and if you accept the offer, Carvana will pay you as soon as you hand the keys over. They even offer same-day pickup in many cities. Save your time, score some cash, and sell your car the convenient way to Carvana. Pickup times vary. Fees may apply.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
Mic check. 1, 2. Are we recording? Hi, I'm Michelle Bernstein, an award-winning chef, restaurateur, and mom. I have a lot on my plate, including my psoriatic arthritis symptoms. That's why I was prescribed Cosentyx. It helps me move better.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for people 2 years of age and older with active psoriatic arthritis. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some were fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTYX or Cosentyx.com.
Ask your rheumatologist about Cosentyx.
No brakes, no brakes, no fear, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome along, I'm Ian Brannan. Coming up, reaction from the latest fixtures in the Rowe Motor Oil Premiership, including from Leicester, as the Lions get the better of the Tigers again.
I expected a much tougher meeting tonight. I did mention that in the media leading up to it. I think we got the tougher meeting.
And we catch up with Jason Edwards, an extended chat about the merry-go-round of the Speedway rider. He was riding for the Brummies, found himself out of the team through injury, makes his comeback, and before he knows it, he's racing against the Brummies. And now he's got a team place with Ipswich. Keeping up? Well, Jason is.
Well, I think as well, the other thing is the way the fixtures are now, you have to make the most of every meeting, because if you start going, like tonight, say I didn't do it because I thought, oh, well, I don't want to ride at Birmingham, because, well, you're not riding, you're not getting paid, so what are you doing?
And in the second part of the podcast, our main guest is his new team captain, but he's also a teammate with Redcar. Danny King is with us, talking about the Witches and the Bears.
Come the end of next month, when the playoffs are sort of on the doorstep, we all need to be firing and ready, because it's not going to be easy, them playoffs. It's going to go down to the wire, I think.
Much more from Danny King to come. Plus, we also check in with what's happening in the Cab Direct Championship as well, and look ahead to everything that's coming up over the next week or so in British Speedway, right here on No Brakes, No Fear.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome along, I'm Ian Brannan. Loads to come, but first we will start at the Hydro-Scand Arena, where Leicester took another huge step towards the Rowe Motor Oil Premiership playoffs with a 48-42 win over the Sheffield Tigers in Monday's televised clash on TNT Sports. The meeting went ahead despite a huge thunderstorm over Beaumont Park in the late afternoon, and after additional work on the start line, the two teams served up a competitive spectacle. Lions skipper Max Frick overcame a strong challenge from Jack Holder to combine with Sam Masters for a crucial 5-1 in Heat 13.
Gotta say that the Lions have made fabulous starts. Frick a little untidy. Can they do anything about him? Up the inside comes Holder. Brilliant move from Jack Holder. Surges into second place. Now Frick having to respond. Oh, that's sensational stuff from Frick. Frick now back up the inside. Masters out the front. Huge 5-1. Here comes Holder again.
But it was former Tigers captain Kyle Howarth who secured the victory against his former club by heading Josh Pickering in the next race. Frick kept up his sensational run of form with 16+1 from 6 rides. Masters collected 13+1, while Holder with 10+1 and Pickering with 10 led the way for the visitors. Let's get some reaction then with the two team managers first up, Stuart Dixon and Simon Stead in just a moment.
Do you think it's fair to say conditions possibly took away some of your home track advantage?
Maybe slightly with the start getting problems, but I think that's been disrespectful to Sheffield. I think they came and showed the last 2 visits never showed the team they were. I expected a much tougher meeting tonight. I did mention that in the media leading up to it. I think we got the tougher meeting, but as you say, we got a form second half of the meeting. We were under pressure, there was no doubt about it. There was some serious team talks going on between myself and the riders, but we managed to get over the line with a race to go, which is pleasing. We'll put Max Frick and Red off at gate 1 here, Sam Masters and Blue gate 3, and try and get another heat advantage, as I'm mindful, you need a decent lead. I'm not going to get as much as a lead as I would like, but at the end of the day, it was all about winning the meeting. We're in about heat 10, 11. I thought to myself, let's just get a win, and we have done, yeah.
Exactly, so you must be happy with the way the boys have responded.
I have. I've done indifferent scores for a few of the riders tonight, and in Sheffield they've obviously raced a lot better than what they've done previous times, but we still got the points on the board, and for me that's the most important thing. We could have lost tonight just as easily if we'd have let the track conditions affect us. I think the track rode really well. We just had a problem with the starts. We were very, very strong normally at home.
Thank you, Stuart. Simon, a much better performance from the Tigers here in their previous visits. Can you put your finger on what it was that's kind of put the turnaround in the form?
Not really. I just think a stronger team performance. We've had one or two riders missing when we've been here before, and I just think when you look down the score chart, it's been a much more solid team display, and I think that's probably why we're at least going to get to 40. But look, there's things that we're working on, Scotty. It's I don't feel like we're quite the finished article yet. We're not quite all clicking at the same time. I think there's more to come from this group.
You must be really happy, because I have to be honest, when the conditions are like that, sometimes a team can drop their heads, especially in a away track, because Leicester's normally quite slick, a relatively easy track to ride. So you've got to be happy with the way the boys have kind of come in and put in a good performance.
Can't fault any of the lads for effort, but that's what I've had all season. Injuries have hit us, obviously, and we've been suffering a bit in that respect. Needing to use RR and the like. It's not easy when you haven't got your 7 riders all kicking out at the same time. So I think the home display last week and a better performance on the road this week is a step in the right direction.
Well, the rider voted the Cabin Master Rider of the Night was Kyle Howarth, the former Tigers captain, doing the business for the Lions, and he too has been speaking to Scott Nicholls.
Can't make a fully deserved Rider of the Night. You kind of always ride with so much passion, you put it all in, and it must have been nice to secure the win for the team in Heat 14.
Yeah, there's always, that Heat 14, obviously Stuart's like, we don't want a last heat decider or anything, so
no pressure.
Win. No pressure, but I've had it a few times this year, but they're the ones you need to step up to, and it's nice to be able to step up to them and do that, and secure the win. Obviously we do it as a team, but always added a little bit of pressure, and especially off gate 4 when the track was tricky tonight with the starts, and 4 was quite slick at the end, and I had to use the track craft to make I seen Pico make a really good start, but he kind of went straight, and I thought, well, I have to cut back, and got my wheels in line, and it worked.
You're doing, and what you said there, you have to cut back, and obviously it's an instinctive thing, but kind of how early can you make that prediction? You said you saw what Pico was doing, so you kind of already anticipated the move before you get there.
Yeah, as you know, it kind of just happens in seconds, done it in your head. Like I made a little bit of a jump, but I seen Pico made a really good jump, and as soon as he made a good jump, that was my time when I was cutting back. I seen where he was going, and you seen later on there was a few riders going a bit too wide on 1 and 2 and leaving the door open, and riders were coming underneath, so that's what I did, and set my wheels up and got my wheels in line going into 3 and 4. At one point I got a little bit nervous because I thought I am coming in a bit too fast here, and obviously the dirt up the turns 3 and 4 was quite heavy, so it was kind of a hang on moment, but no, got it done and rode 4 good laps.
Well, it takes 2 to make a contest, and for the Sheffield Tigers, one of the riders leading the way was Jack Calder. 10+1 for him, and he's been speaking to Abby Stevens on TNT Sports.
Pretty entertaining for sure. Very tricky track tonight, and especially at night, it's quite dark out there, and it's quite a big berm. So we had full trust in each other, me and Sam, and yeah, just a couple of times there, we were skating backwards to each other, and just praying to stop in time.
All Aussies as well.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Dominating the scene here in the UK. When it's dark and the track has played its part tonight, what's that like?
Yeah, it's difficult, especially when you're behind. When you're in front, it's no worries, but with how heavy the big berm is on the outside, it's quite tricky to see where it is, and we're hooking at the end of the straight, so it's very difficult. Maybe they need some more lights, I don't know.
and to get the start sorted at the end of the night, at the start of the night. Jack, to keep the score close going to your home track, it's super important.
Yeah, exactly. The last couple of times they've been here, we've got our backside kicked. So, good performance from the boys tonight and myself. And, hopefully we return the favour on Thursday.
The two do meet again on Thursday, but it's actually not the second leg of that fixture you saw on Monday. This is relative to the round one clash back in June, where Leicester are 56-34 up. So the aggregate point very much in the favour of Leicester going into that clash on Thursday. And they do make a team change as well, because they'll be bringing Richard Lawson back to the Leicester Lions as a guest in place of Luke Becker for that one at Overton on Thursday. And you can see that clash live on BSN on Thursday night. Well, the Oxford Spires kept up their remarkable run of results against Birmingham this season with a 47-43 win at Perry Bar on Monday night. All four of the Spires' victories in the Row Motor All Premiership in 2025 have come against the Brummies, and their latest success was a big boost towards avoiding the wooden spoon themselves. Skipper Maceij Janowski secured the win by winning Heat 15 ahead of Tobias Mujalak and Keenan Roux, with the Oxford number one dropping just the 1 point during the meeting to finish on 14 points overall. Rowan Tungay added 8+2 in a solid team performance, which also featured 2 wins for Jason Edwards, who was guesting against his former club. Tobias Mujalak scored for the Brummies with 11+2. Well, an interesting conversation with Jason Edwards on the way, and a real insight into his thinking now as he plans life for at least the next 28 days with the Ipswich Witches. So stay around for that. Let's get some reaction from this fixture first of all from the Oxford Spires, and we'll start off by hearing from that star man for the Spires, winning Heat 15 ahead of Tobias Mujalak, Maceij Janowski.
Yeah, it was a good night from the beginning. We found a good setup. What let me make good starts, and it's different when you are on front. Then you enjoy more Speedway, definitely.
Particularly when you've been a team, obviously there's been a lot of ins and outs with the teams, with different things going on with different riders, and obviously results haven't been ideal for the team as well. So when you do get a win, just how much more special does it feel to finally get one?
Yeah, that's right. It's always good to win after the time when you're not winning. So then tastes much better. But our team been changing from the beginning of the year few times, and that's but that's not in my head. I was trying to focus on myself and try to do my best on every race. So today was a good night for me.
Yep, it certainly was. We saw you have a pretty steady meeting at Sheffield last week, a couple of race wins, and here only dropping 1 point. It probably is score-wise one of your best nights since returning to British Speedway.
I don't think so. Maybe I score more in King's Lynn, but I'm not sure. My memory, I don't have good memory, so doesn't matter. I hope in next meetings I can prove that I feel good on some of the English tracks. But we will see what future gonna bring.
And a bit of a break for the Spires now, but as Peter Schrock's been saying, the team manager, it's just about getting as many positive results between now and the end of the year.
Yeah, I think we don't have any chance for the playoffs, so let's finish that season with good smile on our face. Let's give for our fans some good Speedway till the last meeting, and we're gonna do our best.
Magic, a big well done to you and the team tonight.
Thank you.
So there's Maceij Janowski chatting to Ryan Guest. Now, we are doing these interviews in the pits at Birmingham, and that means the 2-minute time siren seems to be permanently on all the time. You haven't developed tinnitus in the last couple of minutes, so apologies in advance for that. Let's move on now to another rider that was firmly involved in that contest for the home side, Keenan Roux, also chatting with Ryan Guest.
Another one of those really frustrating nights for the Brummies to lose once again to Oxford.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a meeting that we should have won probably, and I'm sure the club definitely was pushing us to, of course, and they were looking forward to us winning today. But it's Speedway and it happens. They had a team full of guests as well, which is probably even more bitter for us. But look, it is what it is. There's nothing I can say really. I did my best, and I'm sure the boys do their best every week. And of course, nothing's clicking for us, and it's tough.
When you go back and look through it race by race, result by result, it just shows and reiterates how many fine margins there are in this sport as well.
Yeah, sometimes you're probably better not looking back because you probably kick yourself, or a lot of the boys probably kick themselves heaps because, sometimes it's down to a few points, and then a few silly points that you miss are the ones that count. But look, it is what it is, like I said, and there's nothing really we can do now. But we've got a few home meetings coming up. Hopefully the boys can click all together at one night and we can have some wins.
To pick up on something you've said there as well, obviously everyone knows it's coming to the end of Birmingham's time in Speedway now as well. So how important is it to keep looking forward, to keep looking to that next meeting and just trying to give the supporters something to shout about in the final weeks?
Yeah, of course. It's definitely giving the supporters something, and of course, like Nigel, he puts in a lot of hard work here, and I feel like the results haven't really been what, of course, he wants this year, and it'd be good to give him a few good results to send it out, and yeah, of course, for the supporters as well.
Thursday night is obviously Ipswich away, a place you know well, and Birmingham have gone and caused a few teams a few little problems along the way, might not have always got the results, and Foxhall seems to be one of those places where a few of the boys can step up and do that.
Yeah, of course, it's another meeting. It's definitely going to be tough. I think we're definitely going to be overlooked, and but I think that's when the meetings are better. We have no pressure and we go and do what we can do, and the result at the end of the night is what it is, and hopefully all the boys can have a good night and we can keep it somewhat close or nib a win, but we'll see what happens.
Let's get the team manager thoughts then. First of all, Chris Adams on another defeat at the hands of the Oxford Spires.
It is disappointing, but it's not over, we've just made it a little hard for ourselves now. I really thought, that we was finally going to get one over on them, but they've become a bit of a bogey team, and I think their reserves were a lot stronger, and I think they had 10 race winners. We only had 5, so there's lots of little things that contributed through the night. We kept it close. It was an exciting meeting for the fans, but fortunately it just didn't go our way in the end.
It's just that inconsistency once again as well, isn't it? We've seen riders have good meetings here at Perry Bar. It's been difficult for a lot of them to put 2 back-to-back together.
Yeah, well, that's this sport, all over, innit? I mean, you go to one meeting and you do really good, you come to another one and you're nowhere near, but we was with them tonight, all the way at the end, so, we'll just have to, forget about this one and, move on to the next. We've got another 4 home meetings left here, so let's try and capitalise on them and, get some points out of them.
I know Oxford were boosted by the fact they were able to bring in some late guest replacements with other things going on elsewhere, and I guess it kind of rubbed salt into the wound, didn't it, that the Jasons come back and scored 7 points for them tonight.
Well, yeah, a little bit, but, we've got our reserves as well, so, you've got to be able to beat them no matter who it is. So it's good to see Jason back. He rode well tonight, and so did Luke Klindt. A lot of their points come from their reserves. So, yeah, we were beaten by a better team really on the night. So, but we've got a good run of home meetings now. We've not been here for 3 weeks, so let's hope we get a bit of better performance next time.
Yeah, not an easy one, because next up for the Birmingham Brummies is the Ipswich, but the Ipswich Witches, that said, have found Birmingham to be a bit of a bogey side. We'll talk more about that with Danny King a little bit later on. Right now, though, let's hear from Peter Schrock of the Oxford Spires after that win at Perry Bar.
Listen, it was a very good battle, they kept coming back and we kept it close, so it was not a good Speedway meeting, so we're really pleased overall.
It was something we spoke about pre-meeting as well. Those guest selections certainly proved pivotal, particularly that Jason Edwards booking as well, but it's one that's come back to haunt Birmingham.
It has, yeah. It's very unfortunate, unfortunately when Jason got injured, obviously Birmingham had to do something, and now it's all turned around on him a little bit, so, but there was no menace about it when I got him in, but there was hardly any riders available, so he's done a great job for us tonight.
Obviously, you're pleased with everyone's contribution. I think Luke Klindt will certainly take plenty of positives from the Rising Star berth, but a word on Maceij Janowski, because that's one of his best performances since returning to British Speedway.
Yeah, we all love when he's like this, when everything goes right. It's he's one of the best still in the world, and it's one of them years, at the end of the day. Sometimes these things happen in life and we brush ourselves off, but like I said to you before, our aim is to have a good run towards the end of the season and keep our fans happy, which we heard tonight. They were very happy with this performance, and and then we start again next year and see what happens.
You've got to be looking to take the positives as you can from tonight. Now it does move you 5 points away from the Brummies towards the foot of the Rowe Motor Oil Premiership table, and hopefully that means you won't be getting that wooden spoon this year.
Yeah, hopefully we don't. But my main aim is obviously we still got a few meetings to go to, so we're still going to fight. It's not about the playoffs anymore. It's about spoiling it for other people. Because I'm sort of determined that I'm going to still believe in this team, what we've got. We've got a classy team. It just wasn't happening. And that happens sometimes in life, like I said. And we're going to go out there all hell's bells and see if we can spoil it for one or two people and go out on a high.
So there's Peter Schrock, team manager of the Oxford Spires, after the Spires get another 3 points on the board against the Birmingham Brummies. Let's talk about Jason Edwards, who started the season as a Birmingham Brummie. He was a rising star, had a crash, was injured, found himself out of the Brummies team, albeit temporarily. But in the meantime, that continues because Sam Hagan remains in the side, and Jason Edwards has now signed a 28-day deal with the Ipswich Witches. But he was guesting for the Oxford Spires on Monday night and certainly made a significant contribution for the Oxford Spires against his former team as well. So what happens when you find yourself, maybe through no fault of your own, but injured on the sidelines and then left out of your team place looking for somewhere new to go? Well, this is quite a lengthy chat, but an insightful one with Jason Edwards on that topic with Ryan Guest.
Jason Edwards, it's certainly been an eventful week, 2 weeks for yourself, plenty going on. It all started when you made a surprise comeback, I think it's fair to say, a fortnight ago, guesting for Ipswich in the end. That was a late change. First of all, just talk us through that weekend, how it came about, that comeback, because I think it was certainly a surprise to yourself a little bit as well ahead of schedule.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was all... The funny thing when it's a shoulder injury, you're waiting for the bone to heal. So that was the big thing to start with. So I've went up to see Steve Williams a few times, and he's been absolutely brilliant. I know the Speedway star, if you go through the years, is littered with riders saying that. Do you know what I mean? Because people like that you rely on in the sport. So he did everything we could, and the bone was healing really well. And then it's a funny one. Like first two and a half weeks, I had no movement at all. I couldn't even lift my arm. And then next minute, I started getting more movement. I thought, right, we're on the roll here. And then next minute, I'd go on the little Honda, which is just like little pit bikes. Thought, right, this is hard work. And then gave it another 2 days later, and then suddenly had a bit more strength, and that's how it just changes. And then I started searching to see if I can go for a practice anywhere, and then you realise how little practice tracks there are in the UK, and then I ended up going to Lyd. Never been there before. Brilliant track for 150s and 250s. And then, yeah, it was a little bit bumpy, but it couldn't have been better for my shoulder, because it was like, if you can ride there, you can ride anywhere. So all that happened was, that evening I rang Gav, the Redcar team manager, because he was trying to get a guest sorted for Edinburgh the following week to see if he needed it. And I said, no, I reckon I'll be good. I'll be good for Friday at Edinburgh. And then I was just washing the bike, and obviously Gav speaks to Danny a lot, obviously with a Redcar connection. Good job we're not on time right here. And the whole Vinny thing happened, because they were going to have Vinny at Oxford. They couldn't have him as a guest. And then, well, Gav was a bit like, well, why didn't you use Jason? He doesn't belong to a team. I'm completely unattached to anyone. And then it was all a last minute, 11:30, quickly get the bike back together, and then, yeah, we'll go for a meeting.
From that night as well, that was the last time Birmingham were in action. We're speaking on Monday night, so yes. A fortnight ago. That was the last time they were in action. In that time, you picked up a few more guest bookings for Ipswich as well. The expectation from many people was that you would return as Birmingham's rising star, but what was that? What was the communication with the club during your injury and during that period?
Yeah, it was a funny one, because obviously Chris spoke to me a couple of times and I updated him, and obviously that was the period where I hadn't had much progress. And then after I had the practice, obviously it all happened so quick, so I gave him a ring before the Ipswich meeting just to let him know what was going on and so on. But just through the nature of how the rules work, obviously I was dropped by Birmingham for Sam to be put in. So naturally I'm an unattached rider, and it's very different how Leicester have done it in the way they've done it with Joe Thompson, because they brought him in on a 20-day contract and obviously just extended it. So that way, when the injured rider is back to full fitness, he replaces the rider that was put in. But because it wasn't done like that, Sam is the rider in the team and the time Ben. So it made everything a little bit more complicated. And the option was on the table to come to Birmingham, but that option was potentially to be at number 6 or whatever other number. So from my point of view, I had a few offers, and you have to put yourself first like anything. The sport will drop you at any point. Do you know what I mean? And it was an absolutely perfect opportunity. That 2-week break that Birmingham had, I could get 3-4 meetings or so, make the most of everything, especially while you're wanted, because you go another week, no one wants to even say hello. Do you know what I mean? So it couldn't have worked better for me in that sense. And then, I had a couple of bookings. You never want riders to be injured, but obviously when one gets hurt, another door opens, and that's kind of what's happened at Ipswich. And if you asked anyone, you'd be completely stupid to turn down the opportunity. So I'm in at the moment for 28 days. Hopefully I can score some good points, prove my worth and that I should be in the team for the year. And that's all I can do. And if I don't, Jordan comes back in, and that's how it is. So it's on the table for me to take. And it's basically the way I can get the most meetings and put myself in the best position for next year.
A couple of points to expand on from there as well. So you mentioned the number six situation. I think Chris Adams, the team manager, has said in Birmingham's press release at the time as well, that discussion was had, obviously potentially coming in for Ben Barker, not knowing the exact duration of his absence. And it was put that you might not necessarily want to ride at number 6 and prefer a rising star option somewhere else. But it's not as if number 6 is something that phases you in this league, because it's something you've done with Sheffield previously.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's just where you're getting the rides all the time. And it's, I say, quite funny, ironic. I don't even know what you'd put the word as, but I was originally going to be guesting for Birmingham tonight here at number 6, and then at Ipswich for them at number 6 as well. That was the original agreement. But if you go into the rule book, if you come in as it started off, my average was too high for Ben, so that was the first stumbling block, because he's only 3.5 and I'm 3.9. And then there was another discussion that potentially they signed me to do just the 2 meetings, but obviously if you get signed and declared in a team, you have to be in for 28 days and so on and so forth. But it's just knowing the rule book. And I've had so many phone, like Thursday, I thought, it'd be a nice relaxed day, just go to Ipswich, and I spent the whole day on the phone, just talking to different people, getting confirmed, is this the truth, is this the actual rule? Because like anything, you have to put yourself first, and that's what you have to do all the time. And like I say, I still committed to my bit of guesting here, but just obviously on the other team. And then obviously this week was just Pete rang up because they were going to have Mitch in the team, McDermott, and they needed a rider. And again, if you get a guest book and you take it. So I'm booked in for Wednesday for them as well in the Championship, and just get as many while I can.
Yeah, I am going to come on to tonight very shortly when we do get there. But I think I think you've done pretty well there. But for yourself as well, everyone knows Birmingham's time is coming to an end, sadly, in Speedway. I think we're only 5 weeks now, maybe from the final fixture.
Yeah, Birmingham got 4 meetings left.
Yeah, so obviously Ipswich pushing for the playoffs. I'm sure they made you aware they were interested, waiting on the situation with Jordan Jenkins. And yes, you're not guaranteed to be there after that 28-day period, but there is a chance your season could be extended if you do join Ipswich.
And however I look at it, the way I've basically, played the system, but used the system for a rider to get the best out of it. I've already done more meetings than what I would have done by coming back to Birmingham just in this short period. So, like I say, it at the same time, like tonight, you feel awful because Birmingham was so close to winning, and you want Birmingham to succeed. Like I say, that doesn't change, but obviously from a rider's point of view, you need to put your points in your pocket and do it that way. But like I say, it was nice to be back, nice to see everyone again. Obviously, there was some people didn't really know whether to say hello or not. But no, like I say, if Birmingham ever asked me, I don't know what's happening with Ben. Like I say, at the moment I don't fit average-wise and so on. But if anything does change, and for anyone else, obviously I'm going to snap at the chance to have a guest booking.
Yeah, you've certainly rubbed some salt into the wound as well, because unfortunately for Sam Hagan, it was a tough night, failed to score. You've come here, 2 race wins, 7 points. Essentially, your points have made the difference, you could say, tonight.
Yeah, and that was it. And like when I spoke to Chris, he was very much under the thing of he doesn't want to drop Sam, which obviously made it more complicated from Birmingham's point of view and how they kind of do it. But at the same time, Sam had struggled here, but when he went to Bellevue and Sheffield, did absolutely brilliant for him. So again, you can't, that's where it's on Birmingham's part, they've done well because they've kept a young British rider in a job and given him a chance. So you can't fault them for that. It was just how else if it was at a different club, they might have played it slightly different. But that's the circumstances, and you just have to go with every day. Honestly, it's been something different, and but it's just nice at the moment to kind of feel a little bit settled for 28 days.
And believe it or not, you are classed as one of the nice guys in the sport. I'm sure everyone is already aware of that. Smiley Jason Edwards, you know, and as. So like you say, for yourself to put yourself first, it might not be necessarily something you'd have done, say, a season or two ago as well. And is that something that the more mature you get, the more you develop individually and as a speedway rider, that's something you're starting to be aware of as well?
Well, I think as well, the other thing is the way the fixtures are now, you have to make the most of every meeting, because if you start going, like tonight, say I didn't do it because I thought, I don't want to ride at Birmingham. Well, you're not riding, you're not getting paid, so what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? The idea is you go out and ride, you get better and you score more points, and then hopefully you can get somewhere else with it. But I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But like I say, I've definitely learnt the rule book over the last few days, and the only nice thing is when you do go through the rule book, there is a rule for everything and you've just got to find it. But no, like I say, maybe I wouldn't, maybe I would. But like I say, all I've been looking at for how it is how do I give myself the best opportunity to get as many meetings and surround myself with the best people as well. Because just doing those couple of guest bookings, the way the Ipswich team operates as a team, everyone talks, everyone helps. It's a very different team atmosphere to say tonight with Oxford, what it's been with Birmingham, and that's the other nice thing when you guess, you go, oh, I like how that club operates, or you go, oh, they're a bit miserable. Do you know what I mean? You get all the sides of it. So, like I say, it's been good, it's been interesting, and it's better than EastEnders.
Certainly is. Hopefully that clarifies the situation. Jason, many thanks for your time as always.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Jason Edwards better than EastEnders as well. So insightful chat there from Jason Edwards about his situation, and he lines up as an Ipswich Witch for at least the next 28 days, and who knows where that might lead. Well, speaking of Ipswich, Kings Lynn, can I say, are celebrating a remarkable triumph over local rivals Ipswich to reach the Premiership KO Cup final. The Stars travelled to Vauxhall on Thursday, leading 48-42 from the first leg and missing two of their regular top five riders, but defended superbly to pull off a 45-all draw for that 6-point aggregate victory. Captain Nicolai Klindt played a big part at reserve, 14+1. Chris Harris weighed in as well, 12+2, as the Stars had supremacy in the areas below the top two, where Emil Saifutinov and Jason Doyle were unbeaten for the home side until the latter fell in the last race. The tie was complete by that stage, though, with Kings Lynn clinching it in Heat 14 when guest Louis Kerr passed Dan Thompson heading into the last lap, and the Witches reserve subsequently falling. Let's hear then from Nicolai Klindt. As I say, played a big part in this particular meeting, riding at reserve 14+1, but his side through to the KO Cup final next week.
Obviously, we've been in the Cup final before, but that's a few years ago, so this gives us extra motivation to turn over Leicester in the final.
I mean, you came here with a determination tonight, didn't you? You weren't going to let the Star 2 from Ipswich get away with things.
No, definitely not. And they had a lot to fight for. We've obviously been down 6 points, but also with us beating them on Monday. And we just came with a positive mindset and went heat by heat and learned from the mistakes from last time here.
What did you say to each other in the track walk and before the meeting?
Just like we always do, like focus on the starts, but also look for each other and look at how the track is developing through the evening. And I think we all adjusted and we got through it. And
now the target is not only the cup final, but just scraping the playoffs.
Yeah, like now the target is cup final, and we'll take 1 minute at a time and then see if there's enough for the playoffs.
So there's Nicolai Klindt talking to the BBC's Andy Abbott after that win for the Kings Lynn Stars to see them through against the Leicester Lions in the KO Cup final, which is next week. The first leg is on Monday, Kings Lynn versus Leicester at the Adrian Flux Arena. And then the second leg on Thursday, the Lions versus the Stars next Thursday night. You can see both legs on BSN next week. Looking at the Road Motor Oil Premiership table, here's how it stacks up at this moment in time. The Bellevue Aces are top of the table table, but they have ridden more meetings than anyone else, and they're 1 point ahead of the Ipswich Witches. 17 meetings ridden, 20 points on the board. Ipswich are second, 16 meetings ridden and 28 points, and 15 meetings ridden for the Sheffield Tigers. They're on 26 points. Below them in fourth, the Leicester Lions, who've ridden 16 on 24 points. Sheffield and Leicester meet on Thursday night. Fifth place, the Kings Lynn Stars. Just heard about them. They're 10 points off the pace behind Leicester at the moment. So not totally out of it, but still, it's looking slimmer and slimmer chances as time goes on, but you never know just yet. Sixth place, the Oxford Spires, 18 meetings ridden and 11 points. The Birmingham Brummies prop up the table, and they're in 16th place and 6 points on the board. And generally looking at the week ahead in the Row Motor All Premiership, as we mentioned, Sheffield and Leicester clash again on Thursday. This time it's a round one fixture at Oleton, whilst Ipswich look to return to top spot when they host Birmingham. The Premiership KO Cup final takes centre stage next week. Kings Lynn hosting Leicester on Monday. 72 hours later, they do it again at the Hydroscand Arena. And also on Monday, Birmingham face Bellevue in league action. OK, into the next part of No Breaks, No Fear then. What about the Ipswich Witches? We're going to hear from team captain of Ipswich and, of course, rider for the Redcar Bears. Danny King is with us in the next part of No Breaks, No Fear in a sec.
BTW FYI. Visit Nexplanon.com RN to learn about Nexplanon. It's an adjustral implant, 68 milligrams radiopaque. Or ask your HCP IRL. Okay, TTYL.
No Breaks, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
This is No Breaks, No Fear, the official British Speedway podcast. Well, things obviously hotting up in both leagues now. We're heading towards playoff time in both the Premiership and, before you know it, the Cab Direct Championship, all heading up on the rails become the end of August. And it is going to be a busy time for both teams that Danny King is involved with. And I'm pleased to say that Danny King joins us now, of course, battling on all fronts in the Premiership with the Ipswich Witches, where he's the captain, and also with the Redcar Bears as well, who have got some meetings coming up, some big ones as well, not least the Pool Pirates later this week. Welcome, Danny. How would you assess the season so far? Because I think for you overall, you must be pretty encouraged with the bigger picture of how things have gone for you.
Yeah, I think it's been a good year so far, and for both teams, to be fair. I think we're heading in the right direction. We've had a few issues with injuries, as we always do in this sport, but I think there's good signs coming from both teams.
As far as the Ipswich Witches are concerned, then turning our attentions to the upcoming playoffs now, I suppose your attention starting to drift there, because whilst the final order is to be decided, that really the top three are all bar the shouting. You'd think they're home and hosed in some order now, but Ipswich, you probably want to ride out the season at the top. You've been top of the table for much of the season so far.
Yeah, as I say, I really like the team we've got this year. It's solid throughout, and we've had a good year. Obviously, we've just fallen short of the cup final, which is disappointing. But you have to give credit to Kings Lynn; they were the better team over the two legs. But that one was quite hard to take. But we have to concentrate now on the league, which you just mentioned, and we're in a very good position, and we just need to just keep the momentum going and make sure we're all hitting form at the right time of year.
On the subject of the Knockout Cup, of course, that was the fixture last week, and Kings Lynn went into that with a 6-point lead. I think many people would have said that it would have been Ipswich's night in the end. No, I didn't speak to many people who really fancied that Kings Lynn would overturn it. So what was it? What happened there in that meeting? Was it just one of those where things just didn't quite click?
Yeah, it was just one of them. I don't want to make excuses. As I said, Kings Lynn were the better team over the two legs. They're a team that's full of a lot of experience. The team's been built with sort of strength in depth, I suppose, is the best way to say it. They all could be number one, or they all could be at reserve. It's a really, really tight team, and it's working for them. And also they're a team full of riders that like Ipswich, or have always done well there or have rode there. So it was always going to be tough, but disappointing not to overturn that 6 points. Considering we kept it so close at their place.
Obviously, that had a dimension being a local derby between the two sides as well, but it was a tense meeting, wasn't it? There was that 6-point gap. It was still doable until the very end, and until then it wasn't, but certainly kept the riders and fans on edge.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It was a very tense meeting, certainly in them latter heats, but it weren't meant to be. It weren't meant to be. It's heartbreaking, but we have to look forward now, and we have to remain positive, and we're still in a good position for the league, and it's about time we brought one of them back to Ipswich.
And last year, of course, it all went wrong because of the injuries that came at the wrong time. This year, you have had injuries with Dan Thompson and Jason Doyle, but both now thankfully back in action. But great to see that the two of them back in such good form as well, and particularly Jason Doyle as well, coming back from the injuries he's had, both from the back end of last season and the ones he's sustained in the Grand Prix as well.
Yeah, for sure. He hit the ground running, which was really good, and unfortunately had that nasty hip injury, which set him back. But he seems to be back fit and strong now, and we can see that in his performances. So, as I say, it's tough, but at the moment we are in a good position. But it's more important that come the end of next month, when the playoffs are sort of on the doorstep, we all need to be firing and ready, because it's not going to be easy. Them playoffs, it's going to go down to the wire, I think.
Yeah, you're going to be in for a furious contest, but obviously Ipswich have had joy against most of those teams. Maybe one that actually has been a bit of a thorn in the side is one that's coming up, and Birmingham Brummies, of course, are desperate to avoid the wooden spoon. They were overdone by Oxford once again this week, but you'll know that you have to be on watch against any complacency against a team like Birmingham.
Yeah, for sure. Birmingham have travelled well to our place over recent years. So, we need to be on our game. We need to put in a big performance and show people that, we're still the team to be sort of reckoned with, and we're still a threat to everyone. As I say, we are a bit disappointed about what happened last week, but we have to move on, and I think we need to make a big statement this week. And, just keep everyone in the loop that we're still there.
You do have an addition to the Ipswich Witches lineup, and Jason Edwards comes in for at least 28 days in place of Jordan Jenkins, while he has some further time to assess his knee injury that unfortunately is picked up. But we heard from Jason Edwards earlier in this podcast, and he's a real likeable character, one that you know well because you raced with him in the same team at Redcar in the Championship. But he's also talked about the fact that previously he was a Birmingham rider. He did a bit of damage for Oxford guesting for them the other night, and he'll be looking to have another chance to put one over his former side in the next meeting coming up at Vauxhall.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm one of Jason's biggest fans. I'm sure most people are. As you said, he's a real likeable character, and he's making good strides in the sport. Obviously, that injury set him back, and losing his team place is not ideal. But the thing is with Jason, he just wants to ride his Speedway bike. He wants to learn. He wants to get better. And he helped us out at Ipswich a few weeks back when we needed a replacement on the same day. He answered the phone. He had just come back from injury, and he was more than happy to come along and help the team out. And he comes and gives it 100%. And you know what you get from Jason. And I think he won the club over on that day. And I think now knowing we had to replace Jordan and someone like Jason, the rider of that quality was available, it was a no-brainer to put him in. He's going to go out there and give you 100%. He's professional. And as I say, he's going in the right direction in the sport. So, for me, I'm really pleased to have him in the team. I think he can contribute well to the team, and he'll fit in really nicely.
And as a team captain, that must be a huge part of it, knowing that, yes, you can have a good rider, but making sure that person is also going to be the right sort of dynamic in the pits as well. You don't have any worries. You know Jason really well. You know what he's going to bring to the team. You know he's going to give 100% and everything, he's going to click there, and hopefully he'll bring the points on the track too.
100%. I've been fortunate this last few years really, that we've had 7 guys in the team who are all like that, and obviously as a captain that makes my job a lot easier. It's no different now. Jason's going to slot straight into this team really well. He already has in the 2 meetings he's done for us, and it's like he's been there a long time. So and of course he's coming into a team with 2 riders on the top of their game in Jason and Emil, and I know already he feels he's learning from them guys in the short amount of time he's been there, and he will continue to do so. Jason's like a sponge. He takes everything in, and he's a clever lad.
Yeah, it'd be great for his development overall, won't it? You know, as we've seen from Dan Thompson, for example, you know, being in the pits alongside Jason Doyle and Emil, and the rest of the guys in there as well, because you're all experienced. Adam Ellis, yourself, you know, he's going to pick stuff up, and that will, well, for you, translate back into the Redcar team as well.
Yeah, that's right. You know, Jason had a bit of a nasty injury there, really, and I generally feel he's come back very strong, if not stronger than before the injury, which is a strange one. But it's good to see. You know, injuries can set people back, but it hasn't done that for Jason. He seems to have taken it in his stride. He's worked hard while he's been off, you know, keeping fit and things like that. And he's come out now and he's competing at a high level again, which is what we need. So yeah. A happy Jason, a confident Jason is good for me, because it means both my teams are going well.
Yeah, and so you'll be riding with Jason as well then on Friday, because it's a big one for the Redcar Bears. And talking about Redcar, obviously a few meetings yet to cash in the bank, I think, versus the sides above. Poole Pirates are doing what Poole do and running away with it, but they have ridden more meetings than everyone else as well, and there are sides yet to catch up. But the league table aside, the meeting, when we're looking down the fixtures, certainly we're doing this on BSN, when you see that fixture, Redcar v Poole, we've had some classics in previous years. I think the last couple of years have really been close meetings, well-fought meetings, and for you, of course, as a former Pirates captain, and an extra element in there as well for you personally.
Yeah, it's always a close encounter, and I certainly don't want to be going to a super heat like we did last year, but I'm looking forward to it. I genuinely believe the team we've got is strong enough to compete with anyone in that league. We've been unlucky with obviously injuries and losing Eric. Obviously, it's very difficult to replace someone like Eric, especially at Redcar, because he's so good around there. But we'll do what we can, and I still believe we can do a job. And then, to be fair, we need to do a job. You know, we've had some good performances away from home, but just fell short. Obviously, it puts us in a good position to get the bonus, but we need to start getting some points on the board, and that certainly starts this week. We need to get a good home win against Poole, and then we need to try and go get some points on the road at Workington the next day, which isn't going to be easy. But again, believe in the team we've got, and I know we're capable.
As far as the Poole Pirates go, the tail of the tape, back in June, you went down there and it was 51-39. So, as you say, it's not out of reach. The aggregate bonus point, very much there for the taking. And if there has been a chink in Poole's armour, it has been their away trips so far this season, you'd probably say, in the league at least.
Yeah, we didn't travel very well to Poole. It was a shame, really. We had a few riders who had an off night, a few machinery problems, and, you know, you can't let Poole build up that much of a lead early on like they did. But, you know, once we got past probably the first 5-6 heats, we pretty much held our own for the rest of the meeting, which is a promising sign. But unfortunately, in terms of the scoreline, it was too far gone already. So, you know, we need to take the positives out of it, and then we need to use that moving forwards. And as I say, it's our track this time, and we are capable of winning for sure. Whether we can get the bonus, who knows? But that's obviously the goal.
And a couple of guests as well in the lineup for that fixture. You've got, it's almost like the Redcar Comets in a way. Ironic that you're going to be riding them again 24 hours later. But Jacob Hook comes in for Jake Mulford, who's away on GB duty. Tate Zischke coming in as well, who's going very well at this moment in time too, and has previously had one of his best performances of the season riding for Redcar up at Edinburgh a couple of weeks back as well. So two handy guests there to bring into the side who go well on the Redcar track.
Yeah, really pleased with the guests we've got in for this week. As most people will know, finding guests sometimes can be very challenging, but you know, hats off to the management. They've done a great job, and I'm really pleased with the team we've got for Friday and Saturday. So yeah, you know, it's a big one. We need to get a win, simple as that. We can't slip up now. Redcar need to make the playoffs. I believe we are going to. I believe we can. I believe we can go all the way, but we've just got to weather this storm that we're on at the minute and try and get settled back in get settled as a team, I probably should say. And that starts this week by getting points on the board.
Poole will not be a full strength side themselves because Anders Rowe is missing too because he's on duty in Poland. So that's a big, you know, place to fill in their team at number 5, so they're not, at the time of recording this, not sure if it's guest or RR yet. They haven't actually decided, but otherwise they're going as per programme. But it will certainly be an interesting battle. Obviously, we know about the big heat leaders, but I guess the story with Poole is the signing of William Cairns and what he's going to bring. I think if there is a track that he has ridden a little bit, it is Redcar, so certainly need to be on guard there. But then, that said, Jody Scott, Nace Piper have been doing all right, certainly around the home circuit as well recently.
Yeah, for sure. Paul are always a strong team. They got riders in there who enjoy our track. Obviously, Louis Kerr's rode for Redcar. Obviously, missing Anders is going to be a big thing. He's on some good form this year, but as we say, if they get a guest in, I'm sure it'll be someone capable, and if not, they're more than capable with RR. So, Zach's having a good year, and obviously William coming in. There's a lot of pressure on the kid, but I like him. He's holding his own, and he's got a good head on his shoulders. So I know he's going to come in and enjoy himself. He really enjoys the Redcar circuit. So he's certainly one for the future, and he's going to come in and put in a good performance, I'm sure. But as you said then, we've got 2 young lads at reserve who are doing the same thing. They're taking good strides in the sport, and they'll feel this is their track and they won't want him to get one over them. So I think we're in for a cracking meeting, that's for sure.
Good replacements for Redcar, but obviously losing Eric Riss is a big blow at this moment in time, and no real estimation yet of where we're at with that situation, exactly how long it will go on. But up until that point, the heat leader trio, yourself, Eric and Charles Wright, not to mention the rest of the lads as well, but really were showing that between the three of you that was sort of half the job done there, and it was really going to plan up until that point when Eric fell ill.
Yeah, we've been here before, haven't we? And it's such a shame, and obviously the most important thing is Eric's health, and we wish him the best, and hopefully he can bounce back from this quickly, like he did last time. Hopefully he can do it again. I'm sure he will. But as you say, it's one of them things where you can't put a time frame on it. So it's tricky for everyone. But yeah, the way the team was built with 3 heat leaders, top heavy, you are relying on us guys, and when you lose someone like Eric, it's a massive hit to the club. And it's, as I say, if you can replace him with someone of his standard, you're doing okay. But a lot of the time, guests are hard to come by. And then if we have to go RR again, it puts more pressure on the team and the younger lads in our team. So it's just not ideal. So, I'm keeping hopeful. I'm keeping positive. We're hoping Eric will be back soon, and we can hit the ground running back how he was before the injury, and we can find that form going into them playoffs.
And for Redcar, of course, 6 meetings ridden so far, 5 points on the board. So very much in the mix for a team that's ridden that amount of fixtures. Above you, you've got sides like Oxford and Scunthorpe who've ridden either 2 or 3, or in Poole's case, 4 more meetings. So you've got a fair way to catch up, and you still have to face, either at home or away, pretty much the entire league yet again. So there's a long way to go, and certainly the home form is going to be key in that next 6 weeks or so, isn't it?
I think we've got a very busy 6 weeks coming up. It's, as I say, that was my point when I said we need to get points on the board this week. Otherwise it will start slipping away. We're there or thereabouts still, which is important, and we need to stay there. And if we can get some points on the board this weekend, it keeps us in that good position moving forward into a real busy August.
And you've also got this clash against Workington heading to the GT Tyres Arena, which, they've had a lot of success there this last couple of weeks. And I've been at the last couple of meetings where, they demolished Poole. The damage was done in the opening 5 heats, really, and it was hard for Poole to come back. And again, against Scunthorpe, started very strongly. You have some changes. You've got Jonathan Grahn and Justin Sedgman coming in as guests for Redcar, and for Jake Mulford and Eric Riss once again. And for the Comets, they are as programmed, with Ansi Vulas coming back into the side. So, you're going to be in for a real test on Saturday afternoon.
We need to definitely hit them hard. We've had a good meeting there already this year, and hopefully we can do that again. But as you say, they've had a lot going on, and it's good to see, as a rider and as a fan, that they've had a good comeback, and they've managed to keep everything going. And they made a bold statement by beating Poole last week. And I know they're going to be bouncing off that and taking that confidence into future meetings. So we need to definitely be on our game if we're going to go there and get a victory.
And I think as well that riders finding the track there a different prospect, racing in an evening. I know it's only a few hours difference, but the track There's been less dusty. There's been more moisture in it. It has raced differently, better, I would say. Some really good races going on. But then when you go to the little black book of being a rider and you go in there and you've got your settings that maybe worked last time, a lot of riders finding that maybe that's not quite the case now.
Well, I got a maximum there last time, so thanks for that, Ian. Hopefully
think of what you might do this time.
But you're right, you are right. I generally think it's a lot better for everyone having it a bit later, and maybe not for us riders in terms of what time we get home, but I always think evening meetings, like you just said, you can control the track a lot better, i.e. the more moisture in the track, the dust. So yeah, I do think generally it'll be better for everyone, and hopefully it can help the track staff keep the track how they want it as a team. And yeah, it'll be nice to ride it a little bit later, and hopefully the track will be similar to last time, because as I said then, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it has produced some really good racing in the last couple of weeks. So whatever the result, let's hope for some good racing at least. Let's talk just one other thing. We've got an interview coming up with Gavin Parr in the final part. We'll concentrate a bit more on the Cab Direct Championship before we round things out. But in that, he talks about Jake Mulford and perhaps the international commitments that he's currently got. He's away on Great Britain duty this weekend. He's been in the SGP2 and Grand Prix qualifiers. A lot of international commitments all of a sudden this year. And Gavin Parr saying that's really taken its toll on him. Is that probably your experience as well on how things have gone for Jake? Because he started off the season fantastic, and now, he is here, there and everywhere all of a sudden.
Yeah, for sure. Organisation is key in Speedway when you're riding with that sort of schedule. And unfortunately for Jake, it's hit him really, really fast and hard. He's not experienced anything like this before, and all of a sudden he's got to try and organise himself to be in 2 or 3 different countries in 2 or 3 days. And he's doing it. You credit to the lad. It's a big step to take. It's a lot of effort, time, money, but he's doing it. But unfortunately, I think he is struggling a little bit. I think it's hit him hard. He's understanding what it's like to be a professional speedway rider, riding all over the world. And in one way, it is good for him. He needs to understand it. If he wants to do that for a living, he's got to work it out and get his head around it. But unfortunately, it seems to be affecting his health a little bit. And he probably needs to take a little step back and just reassess the situation, because obviously he's capable of being there. There's no doubt about that. But he needs to just try and make it work a little bit better for him. And this is how you learn. And he's got people around him who are helping him now. And hopefully he can just try and get a bit of energy back and I don't know, maybe just look at it from a different angle and approach it from a different angle and moving forward, go and enjoy himself in the SGP2, which is, he fully deserves to be there, and obviously keep his fitness and enthusiasm back for a league racing at the same time.
I think it's fair to say that this, as you say as well, that Jake wasn't really expecting to be in this position, and qualifying for SGP2, this has now opened the door to all these other opportunities. And so it's one of these situations to say that he wasn't planning for when the season started, and now it is all coming thick and fast, isn't it? And as you say, it is a different side of Speedway that, if you're a domestic rider, you never really experience. I know that he rides internationally in long track and stuff like that, but the frequency of the meetings is really coming thick and fast.
That's right. It's dead right. But that's the way it is. That's the nature of the beast. And he'll have to find a way of dealing with it. And, we've all been there for sure, but it's just a shame that obviously it seems to be affecting him a little bit at the moment. It's all probably just a little bit too much, and it's probably showing in his performances a little bit at the minute, but I generally don't think it's anything to worry about. He's having a fantastic year. He really did start the season well, and he fully deserves to be where he is now, and that's exactly why he is there. So I generally think, he can hopefully, Glasgow was a bit of a wake-up call. He can take a step back, reassess, and like you say, logistically work it out a little bit better.
Well, it's a busy time for you in general, but obviously starting off with Ipswich and then the 2 big clashes for the Redcar Bears this weekend. Thanks for chatting to us, Danny, and all the best for the rest of the season.
Thanks, Ian. Always a pleasure.
Danny King, and you can see Danny in action on Thursday as the Ipswich Witches take on the Birmingham Brummies. And then on Friday as the Redcar Bears face the Poole Pirates. Saturday, Redcar travelling to Workington. So a busy few days ahead for Danny King. And in the next part of No Breaks, No Fear, we'll round up everything that's been happening in the Cab Direct Championship and look ahead to what's coming up over the next week in British Speedway here on No Breaks, No Fear.
Enter the world of sports the way you want with EA Sports College Football 26. Whether you rise through the ranks as a coach or chase greatness from high school recruit to Heisman, build your legacy and wear your colors with pride. Buy College Football 26 now at go.ea.com/MVP-bundle and bring glory home today. EA Sports College Football 26 is rated E for everyone. Includes in-game purchases, including random items.
No Breaks, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Right now to the Cab Direct Championship and a roundup of the recent action there. Captain of the Poole Pirates, Zach Cook, led his side to a third away win of the Cab Direct Championship campaign as they triumphed 50-40 at Scunthorpe. The Pirates are 9 points clear at the top of the table after the victory at the Eddie Wright Raceway, where they recovered from a 6-point deficit after 6 races to turn the meeting in their favour. Cook's 5-1 with Louis Kerr in Heat 10 put the visitors ahead for the first time, and Cook also won the final 2 races with his success in Heat 14, clinching the victory. The only dropped point for Zach Cook came in his first ride against Connor Mountain, as he finished with 14 points, whilst Richard Lawson picked up 11 plus 2. Steve Worrell scored 9 plus 1 for the Scorpions, who remain in the top 4, but dropped further points at home. And we'll also hear in a second how they dropped points away at Workington in a moment. Meanwhile, at Ashfield, the Glasgow Tigers remain second in the Cab Direct Championship thanks to a hard-fought 48-42 win over the Redcar Bears. The Tigers were given a stern test and were heading for a nervous finale when the Bears reduced the deficit to just 4 points with 3 races remaining. Chris Harris and Kyle Howarth recorded a key 4-2 for the home side in Heat 13 before their excellent guest Tate Zischke won Heat 14 to clinch the victory. Harris top scored on 16 points from 6 rides, with Zischke impressing with 11 plus 2 and Howarth adding 11. Charles Wright scored 14 for the Bears. Some reaction right now from visiting team manager Gavin Parr.
Yeah, I think to be fair, apart from me two, I thought my reserves did a great job today. Jake, bless him, is struggling badly. All this GB stuff, etc., travelling all over the world. He's absolutely exhausted. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in Speedway, to be fair, to put him through it as he's getting put through it. But anyway, yeah, on the positives, I think like Charles Jason, as soon as he switched bikes, was a different guy, wasn't he? You know, different bike, but he had the bottle to switch straight away. So yeah, I think all in all, I think at the beginning of the meeting I would have taken a 6-point defeat. So yeah, it's all to play for in the next 2 weeks' time, I think, when we've got them at home.
Not far away, Edinburgh's rapid start at Armadale proved enough to put their Cab Direct Championship clash with Plymouth well out of the visitors' reach. The Monarchs won 51-39 to move up to third place in the standings, having gone 14 points ahead by the completion of heat number 6. Captain Paco Castagna won his first 4 races to finish with 13 points, and Justin Sedgman also in double figures with 10 plus 1, as the home side claimed all 3 points available from the meeting to remain firmly in the frame for the playoffs. However, the Gladiators finished well thanks to a trio of 5-1s in heats 11, 13 and 15 from Nicolai, Klindt and Scott Nicholls, with the Danish star Klindt dropping just 1 point as he collected a classy 17 points, while Scott Nicholls, in his very first meeting back since serious injury last October, changed bikes after his opening 2 rides and partnered Nicolai Klindt to the first of 3 maximums as he finished with 7 plus 3. We'll hear from Scotty in a moment. First of all, reaction from the Edinburgh team manager Alec Harkis.
Yeah, I felt that's been coming for a wee while. We've just always seemed to throw in a few silly races, as we've done tonight again. But nevertheless, we were pretty dominant from the very first race, and it's made a big difference, taking a lot of the pressure off. Paco's one of these effervescent characters that when Paco's going well, the whole world knows he's going well, and that's the way it is. We wouldn't have him any other way, but he's done very well tonight. That's been his best performance of the year, but a lot of them have raised their game tonight and got the points early on to take the pressure off.
So there's Alec Harkis, the Edinburgh Monarchs, getting the win, but a lot of eyes were also on the visiting side's new number one, Scott Nicholls, making his return from injury and back into racing action, getting better every single race and finishing off with an incredible race with Paco Castagna in Heat 15. Scotty's on the other side of the mic this time, and he's been chatting to Greg Blair on BSN about his comeback.
The first bike, I was nervous and out of shape and a bit uncomfortable, but it was just really flat, and a tight little track like this when it's pushing you past the corners going in, I sort of doubted myself, thought I'll give it another ride, and it weren't happening. So changed bikes, and those 3 rides part Nicolai was trapping like a demon, and I just kind of filled in behind.
And I mean, it was expected for you to come back to this. I mean, to have a little bit of nerves coming in. I mean, a lot of riders get that at the start of the season where it comes in, but you've been out for quite a while now, so was it quite a nervy drive up here?
Oh yeah, mega nervous, like especially the first race, and didn't make too bad a start on a track I like, but obviously last time I was on the bike I went end over end properly, in a competition. I've had a couple of laps practice, but you never push it the same in practice.
Well, we can see the replay here of Heat 15, and we see you there in white, absolutely giving it all. And at that point, I mean, it looked like it was a pretty solid 5-1, but Paco had other things in mind, didn't he?
Oh, fair play, rides it inside so good, and I went in a bit hot down there, and coming here I was committed, thought, right, see if we can hang it in a day. You can see I'm just pulling lockers and a bit out of shape, and yeah, I could see Paco giving it the old Castagna on the back wheel like his dad, but no, I didn't think I'd left a big gap there, but he knows this place so well, and fair play to him. He gave me room, so I left there, and I thought, right, my only option here is to cut back and get the old belly over the handlebars and see what we can do.
And it seemed to work, and I mean, you got a lot of drive coming down there, and I did see you before I came to get you that you and Paco were having a bit chat in the pits, and we just having a laugh about a good little solid race like that.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, and obviously coming in here, I'm coming in knowing that Paco's going to be turning so early. I mean, look where he is. He's got his front wheel right over that white line, and there's some potholes on the inside, so if you get it wrong, you can be in trouble. So I didn't really want to be going on my head again just yet.
Well, next up for Scott Nicholls is returning to his former side because the Gladiators taking on the Oxford Cheetahs on Wednesday night. Workington's Revival gathered pace with a thumping 58-32 home win over the Scunthorpe Scorpions in the Cab Direct Championship on Saturday. The Comets made it 2 wins on the bounce since returning from their season pause as they dominated proceedings at the GT Tyres Arena. Captain Troy Batchelor dropped a point to Steve Worrell in Heat 1 but is then unbeaten and racked up 16+1. And Fraser Bowes with 14+1 and Tate Zischke 9+2, both involved in exciting racing as the hosts secured the win using ride replacement for Heat leader Antti Vulas. The defeat capped a bad weekend for the Scorpions, who, as we heard, were defeated by the Pirates 24 hours earlier. The only significant backup for Worrell, who got 12, was Luke Harrison, who chipped in with 8+1. Well, after that one, I caught up with James Denham, the team manager of the Workington Comets, and first, Fraser Bowes, who just enjoyed his best performance since making the move to British Speedway.
Yeah, definitely. I had a good meeting last night in Poland, and I tried to bring that on to today. But no, I learned last week what I need to do for this track. So I just started what I finished with last week, and yeah, everything worked.
You really seem to be growing into the track as well. You're probably trying things and riding harder than even last week.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just getting settled into the UK now, but I've got so many meetings in a row at the moment that it's just you don't have time to think and overthink stuff. So yeah.
And obviously with Workington now, the way things are, the meetings are coming thick and fast with Workington. I know you've got meetings elsewhere in the world as well. But that's good, isn't it? Speedway riders, a lot of sports professionals will say that they play too much, they need time to recover. But for Speedway riders, you love time on the bike.
No, definitely. That's been my dream. I've always wanted to have 3 or 4 meetings a week, and yeah, so I've got one more match tomorrow and then a day off. So I'm looking forward to that.
How do you relax?
I don't.
James Denham, team manager, again following on from last week against the Poole Pirates, to follow that up with a victory like that, as big as that over Scunthorpe, couldn't have gone any better.
Yeah, it's with 6 riders as well, losing Antti Vulas to his finished commitments. It's a fantastic performance. The boys covered him really well with I think paid 9. Just Heat 1 where we lost the points there. If Tate got out the gate and went and got in front, it would have been a max out for Antti. So covered his rides really well. Couldn't have wished for a better performance. It's quite hard to come off the back of the win last week. We have got momentum going, and we are going well, but we just can't get complacent, and the boys didn't. And if we keep doing that, then we're going to be we're going to prove a few doubters wrong, and we'll be up there with the playoffs, and we just need to be unbeaten here and pick a few points up on the road.
And getting such a big win as well, obviously, historically at least, the Eddie Wright Raceway has not been the happiest hunting ground for the Comets, but to go 26 points up for the aggregate point, at least that is a decent cushion to go there with.
It definitely is, and I think we're an improved team since we went there last time. It was Fraser's first time there last time, and he did quite well. I think his first meeting. So Fraser will improve on that. Anti's hit form around there as well. I think he got 14 last time he was there, dropped 1 point. So I mean, we are a different side now. These meetings are coming thick and fast, and they will only help us get better, get that momentum going, and we'll see. Let's see what happens, and I think we'll be up there.
A trip away to Poole, though. You've got the away meetings to catch up as well as the home ones as well. Poole not the easiest place to go to, but again you go there with a bit of a lead from last week.
Yeah, definitely, and these guys will give it their all at Poole. Poole is tough to go. They are a strong outfit, and they won't be as complacent as well last week. We'll see where we go. I mean, Fraser hasn't seen the place before, but I'm sure he'll enjoy that track, and he'll soon get dialed in. So yeah, anyone can be beaten in Speedway. That's the thing. The league table is pretty close to get into that playoff, and I think we've got a better chance than anyone, and we just need to keep the ball rolling.
From the Berwick Bandits then, we've got some news there where there's been another team change. Stuart Dixon has got high hopes for his new signing, Jonas Jepsen, who's agreed to join the Berwick Bandits in the Cab Direct Championship. Jepsen comes in as a replacement for the seriously injured skipper of the Bandits, Daniel Hume, who's going to be out for the rest of the season with back injuries, but has now been allowed to return home. Well, let's have a look at how things pan out for the next week ahead in the Cab Direct Championship, and league leaders Poole look to turn the tables on Workington, as we just heard, after a recent defeat in Cumbria when they host the Comets on Wednesday. On the same night, Scott Nicholls makes his return to Oxford in the colours of his new club Plymouth, whilst his home debut comes in the reverse fixture at the Coliseum this Saturday. And it's a busy Friday programme as well ahead, which sees the Poole Pirates visit Redcar, who are looking to gain ground on the top four. Second place Glasgow face Berwick, who'll include new signing Jonas Jepsen, and Edinburgh, who are third, visit Scunthorpe. Saturday also sees the return of Berwick and Glasgow at Shieldfield Park, whilst Workington look to maintain their momentum against the Redcar Bears. So then let's have a look at the full fixture picture for British Speedway for the week ahead. We just touched on those on Wednesday: Oxford v Plymouth, Poole versus Workington. Thursday, Row Motor Oil Premiership, Ipswich versus Birmingham. That's a round 2 clash with Ipswich 49-41 up on aggregate. And we've got a round 1 clash, which is live on BSN Thursday night. Sheffield Tigers versus the Leicester Lions. Leicester 56-34 ahead in that one. Friday, Cab Direct Championship, Glasgow versus Berwick, Redcar versus Poole, and Scunthorpe versus Edinburgh. And in the National Development League, we've got the Scunthorpe Steelers, Scunthorpe/Sheffield Steelers versus Edinburgh. On to Saturday then, and more action in the Cab Direct Championship. We've got Berwick versus Glasgow, 7 o'clock. Plymouth versus Oxford at 7, and Workington versus Redcar, which starts at 6 o'clock. Sunday, National Development League action between Leicester and Edinburgh at 3, and Oxford versus Bellevue also at 3. And then next Monday, we've got action in the Row Motor Oil Premiership, Birmingham versus the Bellevue Aces. That's a round 2 clash, 7:30 at Perry Bar. But the action, really, the focus is on the KO Cup, the Premiership KO Cup final. First leg between the Kings Lynn Stars and the Leicester Lions. Again, that one will be live on BSN. Wednesday, there's action in the Cab Direct Championship between Poole and Oxford. And then we've got the second leg, the grand final of the Premiership KO Cup, and that is at Leicester. Leicester versus Kings Lynn, again 7:30. Again, live on BSN if you can't be there. Have a great week in Speedway, wherever it may take you, whatever you're up to, whatever you're taking in. And we'll be back to round it all up and look ahead to another week ahead next week here on No Brakes, No Fear.
No Brakes, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.